Todd Anderson, Todd Stevens, and Nick Miller over in the booth. If you have any questions for us, just ask them in the Twitch chat. Tag at SCG Tour. Nick Miller's going to try to parse those, ask those when we have some downtime, whether that's before the match, during sideboarding, or after the match. Aside from that, what decks we got on the docket for this particular matchup, Mr.
All right,
Stevens?
so I was mono red aggro just a little bit ago, and now we're going the full end, the other side of the spectrum. I'm going Azorius control as slow as possible, just trying to win with some Teferis,
Sure.
And that's it. Yeah, we have a couple next to Fate, but it's 4 Teferis, so...
You're just going to deck me by tucking Teferi? That's your game plan?
That's the game plan.
All right. I know you have some Nexus of Fate in your deck.
Yeah.
Do you have an alternate win condition of any sort to use while you're time walking if you're able to infinite time walk?
No.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so I don't. So yeah, so playing Jerry Thompson's Azorius control list from his article over on StarCityGames.com, where he had lots and lots of just different decks. It was an awesome article. Y'all should check that out.
Yeah. Plus the game podcast, the one that Jerry actually runs with our own Brian Gottlieb, they actually had a challenge recently where they asked people to come up with as many possible Guilds of Ravnica standard decks as possible, even if it looks bad on paper, just getting the juices flowing, the creative juices. And that's something that we as content creators try to do a lot where, 20 of our 25 decks might be unplayable garbage, but those 5 actually have some really good ideas. And then we take those 5 and we try to mold them into something that's competitive for the first week of standard. And whenever we get the big rotation, I know that me specifically, I love September, October, November standard formats because it's all fresh, it's all new, and it just feels really good because we've rotated so many older cards and we've gotten to take a closer look at everything that's been in standard over the last year, plus the new fall set.
Yep, that's true. And so one of the holdouts we've had from the past year, of course, was this blue-white control. And so we've been playing a lot of new decks here, really focusing on the different guilds and everything. So today I'm going to be playing the blue-white control that everybody's been talking about in chat of the last couple of times I've been watching, where they're like, well, how is this going to match up against the fairy? And we have to see, because the mana base is not good for my deck. Even though it's just a 2-color deck,
a bunch of basics,
good.
Glacial Fortress. I mean, you don't have the blue-white Guildgate, but you do still have one of the ones from the I want to call them
the Meandering River.
Meandering River is in one of the intro decks. It's not. I don't think it's in actual standard, but it's standard legal due to those intro decks. Aside from that, Field of Ruin. How many in your deck?
4.
Yeah, I mean, you can use that as a mana fixer, which I do like. A lot of the cards that actually rotated out of the older blue-white deck, we lost Glimmer of Genius / Hieroglyphic Illumination, but we get to replace that with Chemist's Insight. We lost the 3-mana counterspell that
Disallow.
We lost Disallow, but we gained Sinister Sabotage, which very similar to Dissolve, which has been a staple in blue control decks whenever it's in standard.
Right.
And, we still get Seal Away, we still have Settle the Wreckage, and we also get to see how good Cleansing Nova is as the sweeper over Fumigate.
Yeah, so we'll see kind of like if that's really much of a downgrade. It probably is a little bit, but there's going to be times where you're going to, if an opponent has Argos Bloodfast and stuff, where you're going to want to destroy all the artifacts and enchantments. So that's,
for sure.
That could come up also. The thing I'm pretty worried about with this deck is, besides Teferi, you just don't have win conditions. We don't have Torrential Gearhulk anymore. We don't really have anything good. So if somebody's playing Unmoored Ego, if somebody wants to and says name Teferi, take it out of my deck, it's kind of tough. Yeah,
I mean, in the Dimir Spybug deck I played
you have 4 copies.
On Tuesday, I had 4 copies in my sideboard. I
That's
think
so rude.
Most Dimir decks are blue-black base decks, even if they're 3 colors, should be playing some number of that card, because Teferi is such an integral part of the control decks that play Teferi. Just Unmoored Ego on Teferi shuts off that entire engine, and it's just a really powerful effect. Plus, if there ends up being some sort of quasi-combo deck, or just this ramp deck that plays 4 of one big finisher, I think Unmoored Ego is just a great card for that.
So there's my deck. How about you?
I am playing a Sandblack Brew. Obviously, this is right at my wheelhouse. Izzet colors, a lot of spells, creatures that get bigger or reduce the cost of your spells, as well as burn spells. This is just classic Izzet, and this is a deck that actually is really pushing to see how hard it can go with risk factor. And I think that that card is something that a lot of people have been clamoring for because people like these really huge Punisher effects. Browbeat was always really popular with casual crowd when it was in standard both times. The original when it was in Odyssey block, and then again when it was printed in Time Spiral. But Punisher effects have traditionally never been constructed playable, just because when your opponent gets to decide the decision they make is always going to be better for them than the other side of it. So you're never quite going to get the effect you want. If your opponent's at 4 life and you cast Risk Factor, yeah, they're not going to die. So in that scenario, a deal 4 would be better. However, the jumpstart on Risk Factor, I think, is huge because you get to just do it multiple times, and you get to translate one of these extra lands in your hand or an additional creature that's not going to do anything into the 3 fresh cards. Or, as the game, your opponent might make the wrong decision early on. Like if you play a turn 3 Radical Idea, they might just say, okay, I'll take 4. I don't want you to draw 3 cards. Those 3 cards could kill me. But then you get to a spot where the jumpstart comes into play and they get low on life total and they're at 7 and you cast Risk Factor. What do they do then? Because then any Lightning Strike is lethal, any Radical Idea after that, and the jumpstart on Radical Idea is going to kill them. Any Arclight Phoenix that comes back from the graveyard when you cast a bunch of things is going to kill them. So you have to just be very wary. And Risk Factor is a version of this Punisher mechanic we haven't really seen before because you get to do it twice.
Yeah.
And when you have a cost reducer like Goblin Electromancer, it's way cheaper. And when you start to combine all these things...
That's true. I originally wrote off Risk Factor. I didn't think it was going to be very good, but seeing it in action, I have been pretty impressed with it. I'll say that.
The Izzet deck that Ross played last Thursday, as well as the one I played on Tuesday, I think both had 1 copy, and every time it was drawn, it looked good.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really good in this matchup where you're playing Azorius Control, and I'm going to try to just burn you out, and then you just got to give me a bunch of cards.
All right, so while we're starting the game, Nick, looks like I got a question for us.
Well, you telepathically answered the Risk Factor questions, which we were getting a lot of, which leads us to, are any of the Ixalan tribes playable? And that kind of coincides with a lot of people were wondering, is Mono Red just better than Goblins? So those two kind of questions coincide.
Yeah, I would definitely not say that Mono Red is better than Goblins right now. It's way too early to tell. The Goblins deck that Ross was playing last week looked pretty good. Yeah, it looked good. So I would not write off Goblins yet. It's so early. Like, a lot of people have questions of, is X better than Y? And it's just too early to be telling. It's really just got to play games and just see like what fits together. And probably the right answer is maybe some kind of combination between Mono Red and Goblins, So, we just have to keep playing.
Yeah, I mean, there was also a great question on Tuesday where someone asked, do you think there could be like a Naya token deck and that's, more goblin based, and it plays Siege Gang Commander, it plays Legion War Boss, it plays the 2-drop that Mog War Marshal
that card
that I forget its name. And my answer is like maybe. It's so early in the format. All these cards, it's not like we've seen 4 copies of Siege Gang Commander over, since it's been legal and standard. It's just been a card that was kind of on the radar with things like Godfarrow's Gift, and it got kind of outshone by Glorybringer. Yeah. And now that Glorybringer's no longer in the format, we have to decide, is 5 worth it for these red decks? And in a Goblin deck, when it has so much synergy, I definitely think it is worth it. You get these really explosive turn 5 plays, especially with things like Skark Prospector, where you can sometimes just kind of combo kill your opponent from 4-6 life. It starts to change the dynamic of the games, and it gives you a reason to play the Goblin tribe as a whole. So it's just all stuff we have to flesh out, and there's no right answer right now. Maybe 2 months from now we can say, okay, maybe just straight Mono Red's better than Goblins. But right now, Goblins could just be a better deck because it has more staying power. But let's go and do the die roll 7-11 game. See you guys.
Okay. Goblin Chain Whirler was specifically the card that was holding back
Goblins.
That was holding back the 5-drop Siege Gang Commander before.
While you're rolling dice, Ross Merriam wants to know if you're in for karaoke tonight.
Karaoke tonight? No, I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to be playing some Value Town with Night of Autumn on Magic Online later.
And what's your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to karaoke song. All right, so I won the die, or no, I lost the die roll.
You rolled a 7, baby.
Oh, I thought I was wanting to roll a 7.
I'm going to be on the play. I'll let you talk. My hand's great, but I'll let you answer the Ross Merriam question if you like.
Yeah, my hand's pretty good. What is my favorite karaoke? It's kind of turned into the Backstreet Boys' "I Want It That Way" ever since we did that for the team Standard Super League. Ever since we did that, I had not heard that song in forever, but ever since then, I was like, man, now I got to start singing this song.
Mine is currently and has been for a while. The Hills by The Weeknd. I'm going to be at 18. getting a 1-drop onto the battlefield here is pretty sweet.
Todd Anderson is the much better karaoke singer out of the two of us. He is very, very good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's kind of you to say. Only attacking for 1 with a Lava Runner, but just trying to get some pressure on the battlefield.
You got it.
All right, let's try a Wee Dragonos and then try to combo kill him next turn.
I'm going to Essence Scatter.
I figured that was happening. Hit you for 3.
Down to 16.
Now we just got to worry about Settle Wreckage in a turn or 2.
Go ahead. Just a lot of play a land and pass in this deck as opposed to the last deck we played.
Let's hope we don't get hit with a Syncopate. Anything else is acceptable. And this is the spot where Arclight Phoenix is arguably better than something like Rekindling Phoenix, because now I can just maybe chain off in a turn or 2 and bring it back.
Yep, so I'm down to 13.
That's what I got. We're not seeing a whole lot of Electromancer or Lava Runner shenanigans right now.
So my plan was to be able to have be able to play this and then have one of these up as well. But now getting the tap land, I may want to just play the tap land to be able to have this next turn. Yeah, I think we have to just go tap land. Go ahead.
All right, so
it's an unfortunate land to draw. This is like one of the problems with having just Meandering River in our deck instead of Hallowed Fountain. Hallowed Fountain would be much better.
All right, so this is a weird turn. Him playing the Meandering River leads me to believe that I'm getting hit with a 5-mana sweeper next turn as opposed to him having settled the wreckage. It's possible that he has settle, but just that was his 4th land. But since he already had 2 white and he has like 20 basics in his deck or whatever, I think that's pretty low. So I don't know how hard I want to go with Arclight Phoenix, but I also don't know how hard I want to go with like playing another creature. So I think I'm just going to try to turn on Lava Runner. And if I can bring back Phoenix, that's fine too. So we'll play an Opt.
Okay, that's good.
All right, I don't think we want another G2 Lava Runner. All right, I will play another Opt.
So Arclight is 3.
Yeah, once I play the 3rd one.
All right, I'm just really scared of Todd finding another spell here, and it's. I mean, he could have one here, but I think this is just the best time to fire off this negate.
Fortunately, I don't, but that does turn on Lava Runner, so now we will be attacking for 4.
Down to 9.
And I don't really want to play the other creature in my hand, so we'll just say go.
Well, drawing that really punished us for our last turn, but played Teferi.
That results.
Tick it up. Draw a card. End step, untap 2.
Okay. I'll draw. I'll play not.
You got it. We drew like 2 of like the worst things we could draw there, with so then we weren't even able to get this down.
All right, we're gonna keep Adeliz just so we can try to kill this Teferi.
Adeliz resolves.
Attack Teferi.
I will bounce, I guess. So Adeliz just has haste. So I think I'm just going to bounce this Electromancer.
Okay. Unfortunately, we drew the Adeliz off the Opt. Otherwise, we could have gone off. But all right, your turn. It's also possible I should have just hit him for 4 and tried to just kill him with things like Risk Factor and Lightning Strike in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll just tick up first.
Okay.
Oh, our deck is not liking us.
It's also possible we have slightly too many creatures in our deck.
I can just fire off this Field of Ruin right now on the Steam Vents.
I will float a blue. An island. And I'm sure glad I don't have to worry about Torrential Gearhulk anymore. Tell you what.
Yeah. So I did have the option of just playing my 2-mana spell and representing Settle the Wreckage this turn. You're good. Go ahead.
Untap 2?
Yeah. But I just want to get a land out of my deck, get a card in my graveyard, and I didn't want to do it during Todd's turn to give him more mana. Oh, untap 2, sorry. Oh, I guess I am still representing Settle the Wreckage. Never mind. Forgot about the untap 2.
All right, this is definitely a spot where I don't really want to just jam into Settle. So I'm going to just attack I think, with U2 Lava Runner on Teferi. See what happens.
It's going to resolve.
Nice.
Now that's our 6th card in our graveyard. Search can transform next turn. Of course, 2 transform, we're going to have to bottom the card on top, or put it in the graveyard.
If he had Settle, he would have probably used it there to protect his Teferi. I have to imagine that would be the case. Now we have to just figure out if we want to play around Cleansing Nova. I think I'm just going to try to recast Goblin Electromancer and start with that.
That's good.
All right. I'm just going to go for the kill next turn. Play this.
Okay, that's good.
Go.
Search for a scan to trigger.
Yep.
Another land's going to go to the graveyard. Transform this. Draw. So play Glacial Fortress, and I will pass the turn.
All right, so even if he doesn't have Settle, he can find it off of the Escanta now.
Yeah.
It's a good start. All right, Charted Course. Trigger.
It's good. Those are all wizards.
Yeah.
So many wizards.
This is a lethal attack.
Is Arcbound Phoenix a Phoenix wizard?
It's not.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, it deals with spells and stuff, so it could be.
All right.
How much do you want to get settled?
I don't want to just hit you for 6. All right. Attack for 6.
Activate.
Yep.
Take settle.
Yep.
Cast settle.
There's results. I will pass the turn, unfortunately.
Okay.
Actually, maybe I'm gonna go and play this. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. This is like a pretty decent time to get our tap land down right now, but I don't know if we really need to. Yeah, it's a good time to get down. All right. Go ahead.
Charted Course trigger.
Yep, that's good.
Keep being one short of Arclight Phoenix, which is super annoying. Really need to draw some risk factors and put them to the test.
So we're still at 9, right? Sound right?
Yeah. Yeah, attack.
Azcanta.
Yep. This matchup gets a lot better after board 2 because I get access to some counter spells and stuff out of the board to stop these more expensive things.
So that's I guess it's 4 power and 3 power right now.
Yep.
I'll take this, and I'll do this. Does that resolve? I guess guessing that.
Results.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna Wizard's Lightning you.
Okay, so
Just gonna pump this again.
yeah, so
you're
that's
gonna take
4
7 down
and
to
7.
2.
Yep, down to 2.
All right, your turn. Now, any burn spell is lethal. Any attack with one creature is lethal. Risk factor is gonna draw me some cards.
Okay. Kind of looking at our mana here. If we activate Azcanta, we're looking at 6 mana after that. And I think that's just kind of our plan. So, don't really think there's a reason to do that. Main phase like normal, so we'll just kind of see what Todd does in combat and everything. All right, attack with that.
Yep.
All right, I will activate Azcanta. I'll take Teferi.
Okay.
I will cast Chemister's Insight. Yeah, it's just draw 2. Okay. I'll seal away that.
It's unfortunate. Okay, go. Playing around Settle is pretty tough. Not sure if I'm doing any of this right.
right, Teferi.
Yep.
Tuck. Go ahead. So bet third from the top, right?
Yep. Go.
Oh,
Activate search.
yeah.
Well, I guess if you have a counterspell, you might not want to.
Yeah, that's what I think the safer play would. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I would there.
Mm-hmm.
When we have like Teferi going and everything.
Yep.
Okay, we should be good here. Go ahead.
Go.
All right, I can activate this Scanta now.
Mm-hmm.
Take Nexus of Fate.
Yeah, it's bad. He's at 2, so I have to play this out, but like, this is just so gross.
Yeah, it has not gotten good for you.
Like there were 2 turns where I could have just attacked with more creatures, and
oh, I think I forgot to untap my lands too there last turn.
That's fine.
Yeah,
doing much with it anyway.
7. Yeah, so we'll just cast this for 7.
Sure. Would you like to use search for a Scanta?
Player land for turn. No, I want to keep that up. So the correct way to do this would be, especially with the cards in my hand, would be to go to end step, add 2
Float
mana,
untap.
yeah,
and
float
then cast
mana.
it.
Yeah, that'd be the correct way to be able to do this with the cards in my hand. But
I think you could actually use Ascanta. After you untap, you can use Ascanta and still have 3 up. But
tick up.
Yep.
Okay, we're looking a whole lot better than we were before. That whole time, whenever I flipped Ascanta, my hand was just 4 lands the whole time. I was just getting whatever I got of Ascanta. But now we got a million counter spells. We're great. So go ahead.
Yeah, let me see your hand. I might just concede. So
I got
can
to
go
draw
next
2. I got these counter spells and a seal away.
Yeah, I quit. That's right.
Yeah. Especially drawing like the hard counter spell there, so I didn't have to just only have syncopates.
Right. Well, syncopate also stopping risk factor completely is a pretty big bummer.
Yeah.
But
All right, Todd Anderson.
Yeah, what's up?
William 043 wants to know, is Ionize too slow for the Wizards deck?
I don't think so. I just think that it's more of a sideboard card. The Ionize is only going to be good against like the slow decks. It's not great against Goblins, Boros, even Steel Leaf Stompy. But I do think the card is certainly great. We saw Undermine in Standard 2 decades ago, and it was pretty good when it was in Standard in a control deck. And I can only imagine that one with a little more of a supporting cast of aggressive stuff is almost as good, if not better. It's also easy to cast, which I love. It's blue-red 1 instead of blue-red. So.
And Freed Burrito wants to know, with green aggro, is the way to go black splash or white splash for Assassin's Trophy or Knight of Autumn and others?
It's tough to say right now. Right now, I like the black splash. That's what I'll be playing in the next video. It's not only Assassin's Trophy, it's a pretty good splash, but I think like the big thing you get from black is Duress and Vraska Relic Seeker. I think those are the big things to get from black. And then Assassin's Trophy is nice, and if you want like an Argos Bloodfast, that's cool too. All right, so we're going to be taking just a quick little break here while we go ahead and do some sideboarding, and we'll be right back after this.
All right, we're here for sideboarding for Game 2 of the Izzet Wizards versus Azorius Control. From my side of things, Arclight Phoenix is very good against decks where the removal is either damage-based or destroy-based. Unfortunately, almost all of Todd Stevens' removal, aside from what he's sideboarding in, is actually exile-based. Steal away, settle the wreckage, etc. Counter spells also like Syncopate, give it some trouble. So we are going to be cutting that. I want to lower my overall creature count a little bit, even though creatures are pretty good in this matchup. I want to try out Firemind's Research, and I actually considered bringing in Crackling Drake out of the sideboard. Experimental Frenzy is a card that I think would be good in this matchup if half our deck didn't draw cards. This is the only card in Sam's deck I actually disagree with in the sideboard. I think Firemind's Research kind of fits the bill better.
Yeah, it's really tough with all those draw card stuff.
Yeah.
Because then they just get stuck in your hand.
Right.
As we talked about earlier.
If I play Experimental Frenzy and cast a Radical Idea, you're okay, you draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
It seems a little counterintuitive. Negate could be better as Ionize, but I like the fact that Negate is really cheap. I think Wizard's Retort might also be a good option for this deck, since we do have quite a few actual wizards. And since we are just taking out Arclight Phoenix, we're going to be trimming 2 copies of Radical Idea. This was really the backbone of Sam's reasoning for playing Arclight Phoenix, was being able to use an early Jumpstart card to put it into the graveyard, and then you get to untap, play 3 instant sorceries, and bring it back. So since we're cutting 4 of that, we're going to bring in 2 of that. Firemind's Researcher, I think, is just a card that will gain a lot of value as the game progresses, and hopefully Todd doesn't have many ways to deal with it.
Yeah, I am kind of cutting one of my ways to deal with it with Blinken and I. Like, what we saw was a lot of creatures, and the Righteous Blow can deal with some of them, not all of them. And it's also kind of weird against like Adelies that could pump. So it's going to be kind of tricky. We're going to have to basically use this if we can ever trade with a card for Righteous Blow. I'm doing it right away if that ever happens. Blinken and I just didn't really seem like that great against the creatures. But again, of course, we have like Firemind's Research. Maybe I'll miss having that. But we got Teferi that cleans up everything. Because Teferi is
great,
ridiculous. Anyway, also bringing in some Lyras because we're not alone. Never were alone. And cutting some Syncopates because Todd's spells are pretty cheap. And just 1 Search for Azcanta. As we saw that game, I'd search in my opening hand. I didn't even play it till turn 6 because we had to be reactive. So getting rid of one of our Search for Azcantas in this fast matchup.
Just shuffle up. Hobart Games wants a shout out to Todd Anderson. Says, saw you play your M15 Green Devotion deck, and they played it ever since and been your biggest fan.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Slick Judge wants to know, Todd Stevens, how does Nexus of Fate feel in the control deck? They've been trying it out and want to know your opinion.
It looked really good that game.
Looks good that game. I like that there's only 2 in here instead of like 4. It's not a card you want in your opener, and it was really good that it just wasn't just stuck in my opener because I needed all of the cards in my hand to be able to deal with Todd's Onslaught right away. So if I had like a Nexus of Fate or even 2, that would have been really bad in my opener. So it's a good card to have later whenever you have Teferi on the battlefield, but that's a very situational card, so it's not one that I want in high numbers.
And Pyrotechnic wants to know, could Rampaging Ferocidon come off the banned list?
I mean,
likely.
I don't think they will because they're cowards. No, I'm just kidding. I think that anytime you ban a card, it's really tough to justify unbanning it because the only way that it's not a problem again is if it's just unplayable, right? And otherwise, it's just going to be very good. And Rampage Ferocidon also has this added downside of if you forget your own trigger, which happens a lot, you can accrue a bunch of warnings for missing like detrimental trigger, and that can, if you do that 3 times, that's a game loss, and that's just really bad for tournament play. It also kind of stifles any of the Selesnya token decks, which are going to be cropping up probably. So I think it's just safer to leave it banned, even though I don't think it's great. I never thought it should be banned in the first place, but I'm just, I don't think it should be unbanned.
The absolute worst case scenario is unbanning Rampaging Ferocidon, it being everywhere, and then you maybe have to think about banning it again. And so, like with standard, there's just the leaving it on the ban list is not a worst case scenario, so they'll just leave it there.
Reprint Fetchlands, which that name is awesome. That you
Hell yeah.
went to the case of making your Twitch name that. Wants to know why Righteous Blow over Slash of Talons.
Okay, so Slash of Talons deals 2 damage to attacking creature. I think also blocking. I'm not really sure what they do functionally differently. They both just seem white mana instant.
Deal 2?
Yeah, deal 2. I think they just do the same thing. So you could just play either. They may have a little slight difference, but not one that I know of.
I'll just assume Jerry knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry brews a lot of decks. There's a chance that he just
forgot. Way cooler to give a Righteous Blow than like a Slash of Talons.
Cool name.
All right, so my hand is kind of bleh. I have 4. Like this is the problem with blue-white. Sorry, I'm gonna mulligan.
Okay.
I have 4 lands that will just all come into play tapped, and it's just. It's just gross, and then I have 1 Settle the Wreckage.
Meandering River is right.
And again, if this Nexus of Fate was something else, so this is the problem with Nexus of Fate. If this was just basically any other spell, it's cheaper. I'm probably keeping this hand because you want lots of lands with control. So I think this is fine. But this Nexus of Fate is just a dead card, and then all of our lands are tapped. I just want a different hand.
All right. From my side, I'm definitely keeping mine, mostly because I haven't actually gotten to cast Firemind's Research yet, and I think it's going to be busted. So we are going to keep, and we're not going to opt on turn 1 because we want to get as many triggers for Firemind's Research as possible.
All right, let's see what our 6 looks like. That's better. We need land, so any non-land. Hey, that next to fake can go right to the bottom. Go ahead.
Ooh, nice draw. I will play a Firemind's Research if I can
count.
Get it out of
Mana
my
Tithe.
hand. Wow.
Get him.
Wow. I know you've probably been cubing a lot with Magic Online, but I go.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, we're going to use our mana efficiently here. I'm going to say go. Upkeep.
That does not. Okay.
Upkeep.
I was like, that does not seem like using your mana efficiently.
I'm going to play a risk factor and hope you don't have syncopate.
I do not. So, I will take damage. So I'll take him 4.
Yep.
16 to 20.
All right, your turn.
Go. Oh, we need some more lands here, deck. Uno más land.
Go. Upkeep. I'm going to cast risk factor. Discarding mountain. Target you.
Yeah, so I'm at 12. I'm at 12.
Okay, I was just making sure you were taking it first.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to say taking it.
Yeah, I already wrote down 12.
Oh,
It's right there.
4 mana.
Go ahead.
Michael
Right,
McDonald
turn,
showing up
cast
here.
an op to trigger this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a burn spell. Sure.
No burn spells.
Your turn.
Draw 2.
In response, risk factor.
I'm down.
Are you? Because this farm are just getting pretty big.
Yeah, so that can deal 5.
Yes. Ooh, baby.
All right, I'm down to 8.
All right. You may draw your 2 cards. You may untap.
Draw.
Yep.
Oh, these meandering rivers are nice.
No!
Go.
Oh, okay, it's that one. Ooh. Okay, nice. Nice. I think you're just dead. Wizard's Lightning you for 3. You're at 5.
Yeah, then you can deal 5 with that.
And then I'll do 5 with that. Woo! We did it! That was
the burn deck.
Dude, risk factor, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, just one card being able to do 8 damage like that, even if it's, split up like that. So I wonder if I need some more negates, because I have like ways to deal with creatures. Maybe I just need more negates in my deck here post board.
Counter burn.
With the burn spells flying, Todd, DJXN85, I'm assuming you know this person, wants to know, how do you feel with them being better at karaoke than you?
That's probably Daniel Jackson, because it's DJ. I will say, just keep on doing your thing. Keep proving it. Keep being great at karaoke. You don't have to be better than somebody else. You can just be good.
Yeah.
You just be a performer.
Yeah.
And for the both of y'all, what guilds would you place members of the SCG Tour crew into?
Okay, the crew.
All right, you start. You pick one, and then I'll pick one. Then you pick one, and I'll pick one.
All right, so I'll go with Director Dan is going to go to Gruul.
What?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I got you more like a Azorius guy.
He basically only plays mill, right?
Well, not basically.
Only plays mill. That's a very specific type of.
It's like when Ravnica first came out, I was very drawn to like Izzet and Azorius, like basically any of the blue guilds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
blue gills are overrated.
But also Boros as well.
Sure.
So
I would
I'm
say.
in a pickle for what to do for pre-release.
Yeah. I would say Brad Nelson absolutely Golgari.
Okay. Yeah. If we're just going, okay, well then Ross, I'm gonna put. Ooh, what would be a good one to put Ross? What's like Rakdos? Yeah, he can be a jester. He can be Rakdos.
Ross is absolutely Rakdos, but not when he's playing Magic. Just
Yeah.
after every Magic tournament, he's reveling.
Yeah. He's Rakdos.
All right. I will say Todd Stevens, obviously Selesnya.
Yeah.
But more of a cop. Blue white.
No. So I like everybody enjoying life and everything. I'm a Selesnya person.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm a community person.
Nick Miller, Simic, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
a mix
good one.
between Simic and Selesnya.
Sure.
It's
Okay.
somewhere in between.
Ooh, we have one land and an opt. Okay, I'll keep mine.
Ross
Okay.
Merriam says he's not Rakdos at all.
That's what somebody who's Rakdos would say.
Dude, Rakdos is like pure anarchy. So it's partying and anarchist. So I'm pretty sure that's Ross Merriam in a nutshell. He maybe he doesn't like black red decks. That's fine.
So my hand's very mana intensive, and I don't have lands. But there's lots of lands in control decks. We'll see if we can get there. Hopefully this thing will also help us hit our land drops. Basically, like one land, and we're going to be okay.
All right. I will main phase and opt to try to find land because if it gets countered, that's not great.
Force spike.
Yeah.
I just got all 4 spikes and mana size in my deck. Go ahead.
I will play a Goblin Electromancer.
Scatter.
Sure. Your turn.
No. Yeah, go ahead. So I wanted to use the scatter there in case we hit our land drop, so we could be able to do that this next turn, but we didn't. So I did not want to play that.
We Dragonauts.
All right.
Your turn.
Oh man, that feels so good.
I think I might just
Nice
kill him
mana base.
with We Dragonauts. I really wish I had this Electromancer on lock.
So this is why I'm not really too scared of blue-white for the upcoming, and
Trigger.
Teferi in general in the
I'm gonna
upcoming
keep
format. I think the mana base is
get 2 Lava Runner,
horrendous.
attack for 5.
Bam.
I'm going to negate that, hit you for 7,
Okay.
I think. All right, yeah, 7.
So down to 13.
That's what I got.
Also,
Go.
Slash and Talons and Righteous Blow do the exact same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's
Thanks,
what I
Twitch
thought.
Chat.
We got
Thanks.
got.
So why would you play one instead of the other? Well,
Thanks, Twitch Chat.
Righteous Blow sounds way cooler.
Well, you should mix them up for meddling mage purposes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think he just has to settle the wreckage, so how do I best want to play around that? That's a good question. Good question, self.
Yeah, good question. Todd Aronson chat. Yeah, taking it down to 11.
All right, I'm going to draw 2 cards.
I'm going to counter that and surveil 1.
Okay.
Surveil.
All right, draw 2 cards.
Yep. So many cards.
Go.
Unfortunate. Go ahead.
Negate.
No negates. No lands. Oh, wait, no. I want lands. I have no lands. Yay. That's a card. Yep.
Around settle. He been to settle, so he just has another settle. So I think if I just attack, see, Dragonauts doesn't really threaten much on its own. Maybe I attack with Adeliz only. These 2, and then Dragonauts can maybe kill him next turn. All right. Sure.
Settle.
Yep. I don't know if attacking with any one creature is gonna force his hand, so I might as well just attack with 2 and get it over with.
Right. When you have stuff like the Chemister's Insight, you know, the new Glimmer of Genius, you kind of want me to use my mana instead of just being able to do that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's about it for my turn. All my cards say instant. So that means I'm supposed to play them during your turn.
All right, negate off the top. I just don't want to attack, but I think that just lets him Chemister's Insight, and I don't want to do that either. All right, Wizard's Lightning you.
Negate.
All right, Wizard's Lightning you.
Negate.
I hit you for 5.
Down to 6.
Yep, your turn.
On land. Woohoo! Go.
It's not good.
Finally found it.
Man.
And we got Todd to use his Wizard's Lightnings.
Go. Yeah, I could have just waited until he tapped out for Teferi or something.
Hit your 5.
15, 11.
Your turn. I have you going down to 13. I think you shocked first turn.
Yeah, you're right. 13, 11.
Yep, good.
All right. Play an opt. Trigger.
Yep, that's good. If it's possible if Todd can cycle through his deck a bunch, he can kill us with this Dragonauts. But
For 3, put you to 8.
doesn't look like it.
Play this.
I'm going to counter and surveil. It's possible that I want to save that counter for the Lyra, but... And I would like this card.
Go.
2, 5.
Yeah, you're at
13
13 to 8.
Yep. And I'm going to main phase... draw 2.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. I was looking for something like Search for Scantho would be a card that I could play there on the main phase.
Radical Idea to trigger this.
Okay.
Flashback Radical Idea with Jumpstart.
All right. Nice. You got your Think Twice in. So we got 5 power right now.
Opt trigger.
7 power. This is the turn Todd needs to kill us. Can he do it? Risk factor would be nice.
7.
I guess I'd use all the mana. So yep, 7 puts me down to 6.
I'm gonna play land so I don't get syncopated.
Okay. Okay, good.
Go.
Did not kill. So does he have negate? Does not look like it.
Well, I'm tapped out. So.
Yeah. So attack for 5.
Yep. I go to 3. You're at 11.
And I get to Nexus of Fate.
Yep. So I have to chump block now. Man, I draw so many lands this game.
I've
only
guess
gotten
I
2
have,
from
I have
Settle.
lethal. I can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah.
Like aside from the Settle the Wreckage, I've drawn this many lands, and I know I cycled through my deck quite a bit, but this is. I mean, you just can't draw this many lands and expect to win.
Right.
Oh well. All right. Cool deal. Lyra's gained 15 life.
Yeah. Yeah. You just need to save those bolts for the Lyra.
Yeah, I wanted to
patient
try
on
to
them.
kill you that turn because you already burned multiple settles, like you'd cast one and milled one. So I was hoping
Right.
that you just had Kemser's Insight and like Teferi, maybe some more expensive cards or something.
Yeah.
And if I go lightning, that's I'm presenting 11 because it's 5 from the Dragonauts and 6 from the Wizard's Lightning. It's possible that after you counter the first one, I shouldn't cast the second one though. That's
Okay, yeah.
That's certainly a thing. But you did counter both of them with negate. So anyway.
Yes, I did change 2 scatters to 2 negates for that third game, and those negates were very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible all the Radical Ideas should still be in the deck, just more ways to jumpstart, discard extra lands. Also just makes Goblin Electromancer better. I probably also should have let my Get to Lava Runner die the one turn instead of using the negate on that.
I was pretty happy when you negated that,
Yeah.
honestly, because of like Settle the Wreckage and stuff. I think that's just you can just let that 2/2 go away.
I agree.
And try to counter a much bigger impact spell than the Righteous Blow.
Yeah, for sure. I think negate targeting Settle and or Teferi is always going to be more important than targeting anything else. So
Yeah, targeting
definitely a
1 for 1
misstep there.
stuff. Yeah.
So I think I might have could have won that game even with flooding out a bit, but I don't know. The blue-white deck looked fine. Lyra Dawnbringer after sideboard, always very good against red-based decks. Game 2 was sweet. Fire Mind's Research. Obviously, it only dealt 5 damage, but it had the threat, of which was really, really solid.
I had already forgot about that game. I thought that was too.
It was so fast.
I already forgot about
It was
that
so
one.
fast.
Yeah.
Fire Mind's Research is it can be an engine card in a deck that just has a bunch of control elements, which I like. It can be effectively a recursive burn spell, which I also like. Like if you just started letting me draw cards with risk factor instead of taking the damage, the game would have gone on a lot longer. But at the same time, I think I still would have won as long as you don't get to like Teferi Tucket. And even if you do Teferi Tucket, I'm probably have enough cards where I can draw into it again, like try to course into it and then replay it, and then just do it again. And if you the turn where you played Lyra, if you had Teferi, you could have gone Teferi minus. I would have drawn a card off of it and then untapped with 2 Wizard's Lightning in hand, a risk factor in the graveyard, and at least 1 extra card to discard of the risk factor with you at 8 life.
Yeah.
So
I'm still
you
just
still would have
dead.
been in trouble.
Yeah.
So
I think so anyway.
But what we got from Twitch chat?
All right,
Yeah.
BGX Mage wants to know what non-Guilds of Ravnica card will now have its time to shine in Standard.
Well,
I guess that may be the History Benalia that we were talking about, because it did see some play, like the
first week
especially
it was legal. It
right.
saw a ton of play.
Yeah, and especially like how Blue-White Control was like the first deck that won the first open, and everybody was playing that the second week, and that's when people brought the white-black aggro deck with History Benalia and the vehicle and everything, and Karn and that kind of stuff. And so I saw a lot of play there, but it really tailed off for the end of the format. But that's again like how I talked about that. Like that card could be one of the pillars of the format.
Yeah, I mean any card that can generate multiple creatures is just going to make Convoke a much better mechanic. And the fact that a lot of the Boros cards are, I mean, they're soldiers, right? So there's not a ton of knight synergy, but I've never been a huge proponent of pushing the knight theme with History of Benalia. It's more just a value card that 3 mana, generate 2 creatures over time. You have 1 big attack with them, and if you ever draw 2 History of Benalia to cast on turn 3 and turn 4, your 2 big swings on turn 5 and 6 are going to be huge.
Yeah. All right.
Arthur's first wants to know what is your favorite deck that you have tested so far?
Yeah, that's kind of tough. I think mine may be the Boros
Definitely.
deck. I really like the Boros deck with all the Mentor and everything. And watching my good friend TJ Rogers was playing it yesterday on the Arena preview stream, and so he was playing it. And that format's only game one. So, you don't play sideboard games, but just game one, he was just steamrolling through everybody with it. And
Well, I mean, very aggressive decks tend to be.
they're good in the one game formats.
They're good in one game formats because you don't get access to a sideboard full of cheap answers and things like that. But also just in week one formats when people are trying to figure out the pieces to the puzzle, so to speak. Like the graveyard related decks aren't going to be nearly as streamlined as they will be in a month from now. Any sort of control deck is not going to necessarily have the right answers for the right threats because just the threat diversity is always a problem for control in the early weeks because you just don't know what you're fighting against.
Exactly.
So you lean towards more versatile cards as opposed to more efficient cards, and that ultimately leaves aggressive decks with like a little pocket to jump in and really take a stranglehold on the format. As for my favorite deck, I'm a huge fan of anything with Izzet. I really like the Primal Wellspring deck. I'm not sure how good it's going to be just because most decks have some way to deal with Primal Wellspring. Whenever I first built the deck with like Hazarat's Fury, a few months back, Abrade was a huge part of the format, and Abrade taking care of Primal Wellspring for 2 mana was disastrous. And the only time I got to play it on the Versus series so far was against Brad, and he had Assassin Trophy, Field of Ruin, things like that. So it also made it. But I mean, I think most decks will have some way to deal with it, or just some way to mitigate its effect. And but I love those big, powerful, splashy effects like Primal Wellspring flipping into Wellspring. So.
Viral Drake says aggro decks are generally good week one. Do you think mono green aggro will be the best deck week one?
No, I prefer Boros still over mono green. We will be trying out mono green here though the next match, so it'll be nice to see that. I'm going to be playing Ben Friedman's list up next. But one thing that I wish was in this at least 75 is I don't have Carnage Tyrants, and I want Carnage Tyrants in this deck. But yeah, as far as the week one, I still like Boros over mono green right now. We'll see if that changes after this next match. And even that mono red that I played earlier, that looked pretty strong with Experimental Frenzy. Yeah. I may like that one too. I like that deck quite a bit. Experimental Frenzy is just so good.
Yeah, I mean, we keep trying out all these different decks, and I think that an amalgamation of all these ideas into like one formulated strategy could end up being better than anything we've tried so far.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's ultimately going to change what we think about certain things. One big thing I want to point out is that Red got access to a card that can easily deal with Steel Leaf Champion, which is Lava Coil.
Right.
And I think that a lot of mid-range decks we haven't really posted a lot of decks that play Lava Coil yet. But I think that if Steel Leaf Stomp, you have them in.
I had four in my board.
Yeah,
for that red deck.
Four on the board for that match in particular, just because it's a 5/4. But I wouldn't be surprised if Lava Coil kind of supplants Abrade as that 2-mana removal spell that many of the mid-range or aggressive decks play, just to keep up with something as big and cheap as Steel Leaf Champion.
Yep.
Ross claims he is Gruul or Simic, and a lot of people were asking, where do you put Jerry T in the guild?
I think he's Dimir. He's always writing something down in his notebook. As far as playing games is concerned, he loves control decks in general.
Yeah, I think maybe Azorius too.
I mean, he likes playing blue-white decks. If we're going on personality types, Jerry's definitely the kind of guy to run like a secret underground organization.
Yeah, that sounds like Jerry. Eating lots of pizza.
All right.
Say it's a little
Underground
bit
Pizza
here.
Society. Any more questions from Twitch chat before we take a break before our third match?
No question, but Death Benzo comments, Todd, did they manage to spell your name right on your jacket?
Oh, they did. Yes.
Wow.
We do have a correctly spelled name.
Nice.
Yeah.
Star City Games, doing it right.
That's quality.
Spelling people's names right on their jacket.
Yeah, it's just a really nice jacket too.
Yeah.
This
is not a comment on anything that's been happening lately. I just want to say Star City Games, great at spelling things on people's jackets.
All right, so with that, we will be back in 10 minutes. We're going to have Mono Green aggro, splashing a little black for Assassin's Trophy against Golgari. Are you just a mid-range deck?
Yeah, just mid-range.
Yeah, just Golgari mid-range.
It's kind of like
Gottlieb's
Golgari good stuff. This is a Brian Gottlieb concoction from his article from yesterday. So if you want to learn more about that in this 10-minute break, I would suggest going to check out his article from yesterday on SCG Premium.
For mine, it was Ben Friedman wrote the best deck for Week 1 Standard, and that's what I'm about to play. So
Cool.
there we go. So we'll see.
All right, we'll be right back.